Hey folks, Andy here. Does your skin crawl with the thought of just going to a dealership? You're not alone in dreading the sight of the dealership negotiating table. Let's be honest, car salespeople didn't get their reputation entirely from nowhere. The truth is the industry is not overrun with villains, but their real job is to relieve you of as much of your hard-earned cash as they can muster. We here at Bumper.com came up with a list of the top tricks a salesperson might use to push you towards an overpriced purchase, and what you can do to come out on top. So buckle your seatbelts, this might get bumpy. You're probably familiar with the situation. You walk onto a car lot, and an overly friendly salesperson slides up to you and offers you a coffee and maybe a donut. Donuts, yeah. They ask a few questions about what you're looking for and start probing you about your home life and job. Bear in mind, this isn't just everyday small talk. It's a scripted routine that's designed to get the info they need and to give them an opening and take charge of the situation. While their questions are all very friendly and low-key, make no mistake, the salesperson is sizing you up. Do you have kids in sports leagues? Maybe they'll use that information to try and get you into a pricey SUV. A long morning commute, they could use that to steer you towards a comfy full-size sedan rather than the compact you were eyeing. Knowledge is power. The best approach is in knowing exactly what you want before you even step foot on the lot. Shop around online and compare pricing. If you're going to trade in, have a good idea what your old car is worth. Figure out how much you can spend on a new car and secure financing outside the dealership. Remember, no matter how chummy they are, the salesperson isn't your friend. So when it comes down to specific questions like what kind of payment you can afford or how much of a down payment you were planning on doing, don't feel compelled to answer unless you're ready to sit down to negotiate a price on a specific vehicle. Salespeople may try to get you to focus more on the monthly payments rather than the total purchase price. Paying $85,000 for a new pickup may be far beyond your price range, but when spread out over 7 or 8 years, that can start to sound a lot more manageable. A salesperson hopes that you forget that the interest on the note may substantially increase the amount of money you pay overall. And it's a tactic that can get a buyer to forget about a multitude of other issues in the heat of the moment. If you're happy with the vehicle, the purchase price, payment plan, great, but you still shouldn't rush to sign anything. The smart play would be to insist on a complete breakdown of the details, including warranty coverage, trade-in allowance, final purchase price, interest rates, and every other aspect of the purchase. Know your budget and stick to it. Also, keep in mind that if you're buying a vehicle that's over 10 years old and has well over 100,000 miles on the odometer, a 60-month loan probably isn't a great idea. The last thing you want is to owe money on a vehicle that's no longer operable. Also known as the Ben Franklin close, the pros and cons sales technique has been used to sell everything from real estate to vacuum cleaners. Basically, a salesperson draws a line down the middle of a sheet of paper, starts listing reasons to buy versus reasons not to buy a particular vehicle. Not so shockingly, the pro side always winds up being longer. The idea is to wear you down and make you feel like it would be a huge mistake not to buy that car right this second. Don't play this game. Say something like, my realtor just tried the same thing last week. That will shift the power dynamic back to you and take some of the wind out of the salesperson by letting them know that you're on to this particular tactic. Even high-end dealerships might not be above providing misleading information about the car they're trying to sell you. Exaggerating a vehicle's strengths, downplaying its weaknesses, is a tactic to talk you into a more expensive car that might not be right for you. Again, this is where it pays to be fully informed on the vehicle you want before you head to the dealership. If you know that the salesman is gilding the lily, you're under no obligation to fall for it. If you see maintenance issues or damage on the vehicle, point it out and use it as a bargaining point when it's time to talk purchase price. Undercoating, extended warranty, seat covers, floor mats, paint protection and clear coat, these are among the things dealers will offer to tack on to put a little icing on the cake. But in the long run, it's to benefit them, not you. Just say no, nope. Chances are you don't need what they're offering, so don't feel compelled to say yes to any of it. Another chance for the dealership to make extra profit off your sale is to ask you open-ended questions and offer alternative choices. The salesperson may offer up a similar vehicle with higher end finishes, or ask if you're interested in a different option package that costs more than your specific choice. This can also be a way to push you a little closer to committing to a deal by offering you something else you hadn't thought of. You'll also encounter this if the specific vehicle you want needs to be special ordered. The salesperson is going to try and get you to drive off in something they already have on the lot. Stick to your guns. You did your research. You know what you want, so feel no obligation to even consider their alternatives. And unless you really can't wait for a special order and need to drive off the lot in something immediately, don't take the bait. The power of no is on your side. So, if you've been at the dealership for a while and maybe you've looked at 2 or 3 vehicles, gone for a test drive, and been put through all the tactics that the salesman knows, by this time you're a little stressed, tired, and hungry. Donuts can only go so far, and you're ready to get out of there one way or another. The salesman knows this. They're responsible for it and can read your impatience and turn it around and use it to close the deal. They put the pressure on by telling you that the vehicle you want is the last one on the lot that meets your criterion. There's another prospective buyer looking at it, or there's a special that ends today and you might miss out. What to do? Even if you feel confident about the vehicle you're looking at, you're under no obligation to buy it that day. Let the salesman know from the start. You can say something along the lines of, I'm just here to look and maybe do a test drive. If I find something I want, we can talk about pricing, payments, and financing tomorrow, because I'll need a day to sleep on it. If they try to convince you this car is the last one they have, call their bluff. Say, are you really telling me that if I come back tomorrow, this car won't be here at this price? Because I'll bet there's another dealer in town where I can find one of these at the price I want. That salesman doesn't want you to leave. And this is just one more way to exercise some agency over the deal and remind the salesman that you're the one making the decision and not him. There really isn't such a thing as hidden fees. The dealership knows exactly what they are. Most are legit and some are not. It's true that a dealership has to charge something to cover their back office expenses, but tacking it on after you've agreed to the price is unethical and sketchy. It's important to insist that the fees are rolled into your final price rather than added on after you've agreed on the final figure. If the dealership insists on adding these costs, you can counter by asking that these costs be part of the final price you agreed on, which is effectively a cram down on the price. If the dealer balks, take your business elsewhere. Pencing is the practice of rounding up and turning your $327 a month payment into a round number like $330. Usually after the sales manager submits the agreement to the finance department. That $3 may not seem like much, but it's pure profit for the dealership over the life of the note. The so-called credit adjustment is where you get the final number from the finance department, and lo and behold, your payment is higher than what you were told due to credit issues or other vague reasons. This can legitimately happen if there's something concerning in your credit report, but it veers into outright scam territory when it happens after you've already driven the vehicle off the lot. In the negotiation phase, insist that the salesperson use exact language. Your payment won't be about $330, it'll be $327.23, or whatever the precise number is. When it comes time to sign the financing agreement, stand your ground and insist that the payment you agree to is the final figure. That extra money should be staying in your pocket, not the dealer's. Finally, never ever drive off the lot in a new or used car unless the agreement is signed, finalized, including a hard number on your monthly payment. In fact, no reputable dealer will allow you to leave the lot without doing so. Have you ever encountered shady practices at a dealership? Tell us your stories in the comments below. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel for more car buying advice. Until next time, Andy out.